beautiful collectors and Transformer fans, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Kingdom Deluxe Class BLACKARACHNIA. For the package, very much like the Kingdom line with the Transformers text, the Generation logo, you got the Kingdom logo right there. Of course, you got that small window that showcases the figure. But what's really cool is they're actually kind of tweaking the packaging for different characters. Like, for example, here, you can see that BLACKARACHNIA is in this foreground with the background that has different Beast Wars characters there in the back. But when you compare it to, for example, Cheetor, you can see just how different they are. Whereas Cheetor has kind of this volcanic sort of thing going on there, BLACKARACHNIA doesn't. That's really cool that they're kind of customizing these a little bit. I really do appreciate that kind of attention to detail. And of course, the art for BLACKARACHNIA is amazing. When you come around to the side, you got that Kingdom logo. And if we could get like all three of these kind of lined up, that would be super awesome, I think. But you got Unicron, Galvatron, the Golden Disc, all that comes into play. Come around to the back of the package, you can see that she transforms in 20 steps. And of course, you got images of her in her robot as well as her, well, Black Widow mode. But for the packaging on her, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. All right, so here we have BLACKARACHNIA open up out of her packaging and obviously in her Black Widow mode. And starting off first, taking a look at her collector card, she came with Dinobot. Again, I don't know necessarily if all of them are coming with this exact card or if it's going to be different for other people. But as you can see, you do have, again, that nice holographic sort of foil on there. Predacon, Dinobot. Obviously, this is before he changed his activation code to become a Maximal. Come around to the back, and you can see you got the Golden Disc. You can peel this up. Again, somebody will probably translate this for me. Hopefully you guys can, but you got that right there. And then you do have a nice image of him right there. You also kind of see, you got Airazor there. There's Scorponok. That's interesting. Maybe we'll be getting a Scorponok figure. You can see BLACKARACHNIA right there. And then you got the nice image of Dinobot right there. Hopefully you guys can see that fairly decently. Trying to keep this on as nice and clean as I possibly can. I don't feel like I am, so let's try that nice and smooth. There we go. There we are. Nice and perfect. So you do got that collector card. As for BLACKARACHNIA, you know, as I was talking about in my review of Cheetor, as the characters get smaller, you're going to have a little bit more kind of liberty, I guess you could say, with some of the overall looks, and she definitely has that. While still does a really good job of cleaning up and kind of hiding things, there are a little bit more noticeable robot bits kind of there, but they are hidden fairly well. Like, for example, right here, these are her shoulders, but those almost look like parts of the spider, which is cool. You do have her legs right here that do kind of show off right along the side, but again, they're incorporated fairly decently, I would say. I'm really quite happy with how she turned out. Come out of the back, you can see that this is going to be her little crotch piece in her robot mode. You got the little hands here kind of hanging out, which almost look like the bits that would come out with like the spider web sort of thing. I mean, I don't know much about spiders, so it is what it is. But what's really cool, and you can see this with, like, for example, Rat Trap. You got some really nice hair sort of detail sculpted in there. She's got a lot of really nice texture throughout the entire thing. You can see it in her back section with the different bumps and everything, but you look at her legs as well, and they have a really nice level of detail on there that does have kind of a creepy, gross look to it. I'm really very impressed with it. You can see all of her eyes, her little mouthpieces right there. Comes across, again, like I said, really very nicely. Her little Black Widow-ish sort of red bits here at the top. I mean, really happy. For comparison, you can kind of see now Rat Trap obviously is a core class figure, so he's definitely a little bit smaller. BLACKARACHNIA is a deluxe. Here we have Cheetor, which is also a deluxe. I think that the size here is working fairly decently. Well, yeah, she transformed into a spider, in the cartoon, she was kind of a big spider. Just really very, very nice. You come around to the bottom. She does have weapon storage, which does, again, kind of look like it's part of her. Now, you can remove it, but one thing that is nice about it is while these do stay up there fairly well, and I like how it actually kind of fits in with the bottom section of what are going to become her feet. This does hold it together a little bit better. I mean, it does clean it up a little bit nicer, but for weapon storage, I think that it's incorporated pretty decently. Obviously, it gives like a whole extra bottom section here, but you do have her weapon, which again looks really nice. It is molded in this orangish sort of plastic. You got a nice, almost pink color painted here on the back section. You can see that it's got a nice serrated edge. Nothing removes or anything, but it's still a nice little accessory nonetheless. She does have some articulation in this mode. I don't really recommend playing too much with these because when you do that, it will probably dislodge this. If you have this attached, it does make it a little bit easier. Let me put that back in there. You got little posts on the bottom here. You just line this up and squeeze that in there. So when it's there, like I said, it kind of holds things a little bit easier. When you're doing it, then you can kind of hinge these sections of her spider legs a little bit easier than when that's not in there. And then each of these lower sections are all on ball joints. They tend to, if you go too far, they do snap off. So be careful. I mean, like I said, they're just ball joints, but you can kind of put those around. I mean, if you wanted to really get kind of some very creative poses with her, get her maybe standing up a little bit higher or something like that, and have the little pincers or legs, whatever, right here. You could do something of that nature. While it hasn't been confirmed, looking at the CGI of both BLACKARACHNIA and Tarantulas, I really do feel that they will remold her to give us Tarantulas. Very similar design, both in terms of spider as well as the robot mode. Now, again, that's not confirmed by any stretch of the imagination, but I would just be really surprised if they didn't take this and do something along those lines. Now, for her transformation, we're going to remove this, just kind of pull that away. It'll probably move a whole bunch of stuff. You can hinge these out, just pull that away, get that away from the body. It gets a lot of sort of junk in the way with these arms, so I just like kind of collapsing these, and you can see if you bend them too far, they are, I don't want to say fragile, but they do have a tendency to pop off. So just kind of get these as cleaned up and out of the way so you can manipulate things as easily as possible. Come up here, seeing that, there's that again. Go ahead and pull this, and then you're going to bring these down. Just kind of pull that away, just like that. And then this whole back section is going to swivel. Lift this bit up, and this whole section you can then rotate at what's going to become her robot mode thighs. Kind of rotate that around and straighten those out. And then you can hinge this just like that. Come around here. You can then take these arms, pull these away. They're on a little sliding thing, so just separate that and then rotate that entire assembly around and then collapse that back down. I'll spread the arms out and then collapse that whole section down. Rotate this. Again, these arms kind of get in the way. Rotate this around. Keep that like that and push her head through this cavity. That does get a little bit tricky sometimes. Just push that around and then bring this lower abdominal section down and in. It will lock into place. Just kind of hinge that up and then give that a good push. That'll lock that down. And then that'll pretty much put the head where you need it. Now, there is a little tab in post thing underneath here. People have complained about this little piece, like right up underneath here, snapping. You don't really even need to, like, you can just leave it there. But I feel like that's breaking because people are, like, really pushing, and I don't think you need to do that. It sits there perfectly fine, so I would just leave it alone and just like I said, just put that down. Spin these arms around. It does, again, like I said, just get a little bit kind of in the way of things, and then position that around. Come around here to the back, take this section, collapse that in, and then tuck that up along her back like so. Straighten out these legs. You want to fold her little knee section out. This here, her thigh, there is a slight motion. You got a little bit of a flex right there. You want it out for the beast mode. Collapse that in and wrap that around her thigh basically for her robot mode here. So just straighten that. And then at this point, you're just kind of cleaning things up. Rotate these around so that you get the little claws in the proper sort of configuration. And again, you're just kind of fiddling with her at this point in time. But when you're done, there you have BLACKARACHNIA in her absolutely amazing and accurate looking robot mode. And you know, I never picked up the Masterpiece version of BLACKARACHNIA. And again, it was just one of those things where in the Beast mode, it just looked off. And as a Transformer fan, we're kind of used to robot kibble being around, like especially if you take a look at a jet. But for some reason, it always bothered me with animal formers when they didn't disguise as animals very well. And as I've said time and time again, I like my Beast Wars figures in their alt modes. It just reminds me of that kind of plot point from the show, even though it wasn't around the entire time, I'm well aware. It just reminds me of it, and I like it. It's all a matter of personal preference, but it's just what I like. But this Kingdom version of BLACKARACHNIA has been incredibly well done. Personally, I do think that the robot mode is her best looking one, but that spider mode does look really good as well. And as you can see, she cleans up really very, very nicely. There's almost like no wasted parts on her. Now, as you can see, her weapon here, because of the way that her hands aren't what I guess they're their hands, the way that they're sculpted, right up here at the base section is a smaller round section that perfectly holds onto the handle of her weapon, which does a really good job of sliding in there and staying in beautifully. So you do have that. The rest of the figure, though, absolutely is fantastic looking. The detail on here, wonderful. You can see you got a gorgeous head sculpt. Even around, like, when you look at the back, it's kind of hard to see, but you got the bumps there that are reminiscent of the eyes from her spider mode. You do have her chest piece. You do have some kind of weird spider pattern on that. That looks really very cool. Again, you got the great detail with the spider legs in terms of the textural detail on there. One thing I wish she had light piping. They're starting to do that a little bit more with some of their figures again. I wish that she did. That would have been cool to give some really nice red glowing eyes. That would be neat. Color on here looks really nice. You got some gold accents down here. Again, when I look at this, I can absolutely see this being redone to give us Tarantulas. There's so much. If you go back and look. I mean, the arms are even basically the same. We don't really have a lot of Predacons being revealed to us right now, like Megatron and her. I mean, there's not a lot that's really out there. Legs look good. I like how they got the little spikes here. She has big feet, much like she did in the cartoon. So overall, amazing design. And then again, you come around to the backpack, and that like cleans up just about perfectly. So impressed. Now for the comparisons. Now, like I was talking about, there doesn't really seem to be any wasted parts on her. When you look at Cheetor, he looked really good. I think that his cheetah mode is probably the best, just because like his thighs are super, or not even his thighs, his shins are super thick there, which, you know, like I said, there's compromises that have to be made sometimes, and he had that. But there's extra on him, or like on the arms, you got the extra little bits right here. Nothing on her is extra. You look at Rat Trap. Again, look at the scale here. This is wonderful. It is just about perfect, in my opinion. When you take a look at all of these guys, they all just are really nicely done. Now for her articulation, you can see that the head is on a ball joint. Get a nice range of motion there. Looks up and down. Also has a little bit of a hinge. It's kind of part of the transformation. So lots of range of motion there. The shoulders here are on pin hinge joints. I mean, when you do move things around, that has a tendency to come up. But I'm not going to push that all the way down to lock that in and break that tab. It stays down perfectly fine. You don't need to lock it in. But you have a swivel here. You have a hinge. You do have a swivel. Well, technically 2 swivels at the bicep because it's 2 separate pieces sandwiched in between the parts for the spider leg. So you got 2 swivels right there. You have a hinge for the elbow. Nothing else at the wrist or anything of that nature, but you get a ton of articulation there in the actual arms. Nothing at the waist. All of that kind of collapses in, so that kind of locks it in. That's a little unfortunate. We're kind of used to getting waist articulation for the most part now, but because of the transformation, I understand why they couldn't really put that in there. You do have hips that move forward and back. They move in and out, rotates at the upper part of the thigh, bends at just one joint. Sorry, I got confused about that little pokey thing. You got that nice joint there. It almost feels like a bit of a ratchet of sorts, or maybe that's just like a really kind of rough hinge joint that I'm kind of feeling. But you do have that. You do have forward and back at the ankles. You also have ankle tilt, so you can get some really good wide poses with this girl. Just overall, really very, very nice. I'm absolutely impressed. I'm trying to see. I don't really know. I guess maybe you can open this and store this in there. There's not really a place where you can store her weapon. I guess maybe you could plug it in the back for. Why would you want to do that? But I don't really see any other place really to store her weapon except for holding it. But overall, I mean, like I said, absolutely phenomenal figure. Really, really is. Now, for her transformation back, first we're going to just kind of straighten things out. Pull this piece back and hinge this out just like so. And then lift this up. Pull this piece away. Get the abdominal section out, pull that out like that, and then you're going to rotate this around and put the head in that little gap right there. Take the chest section, fold that forward, and you're just going to take this and fold that over just like that. These arms are going to constantly get in the way, so just try to do the best you can. Slide the piece down, rotate the entire shoulder assembly, and then collapse that back up and in, kind of bring that in a little bit, and then you can collapse that all the way. There we go, just like so. And then just, again, we're going to fiddle with these here in a bit because they, again, just kind of get in the way for the most part right now. Keep that kind of straight like that. That's kind of how you want that whole abdominal or back section to look. Fold these up and then come around here to these thighs. Again, take that section, slide that out, and then rotate that all the way around till that lines up perfectly there. Again, do that on this side as well. Just like that. Then you're going to take this, rotate this around up at the thighs, and then take this entire crotch piece, and you want to make sure that that gets rotated all the way towards the back, and then bring the rest of these legs up and fill in the sides of the spider's main body there. You want to have that portion facing the back. And then I move that, so keep that right there as well. And then just kind of straighten all this up. Bend the robot arms down. Again, get these spider ones kind of push off to the side. And you're going to rotate these. And then this is going to come up and, like I said, fit perfectly on the underside of the feet. I love the way that they did that. That just fills in all that gapping right there. And then there are tabs in the middle by the long fingers that you want to lock in. Just kind of push, squeeze everything nicely. You can then position these. Make sure that you push those little knee bits up. Kind of line up all those like this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this has a hard time like staying completely lined up and in place. when you move things around. So just kind of angle that. There we go. Make sure that's all nice. You can position these little spider legs wherever you want. There we go. There we go. There we go. And again, just kind of come along the side. Make sure that all of the the back pieces are properly aligned. And yeah, see, that does get a little bit annoying that you have to kind of keep fiddling with that. But again, you take this and then bring this underneath and line those little tabs up. There we go. Is that right? Something like that. There we go. Just like that. And when you're done, there you have BLACKARACHNIA back in her spider mode. Now, well, yeah, we are getting some other kind of G1 style characters in the new Kingdom line. I think what most people are excited about it, I think what most people are most excited about are these new Beast Wars figures. It has been some time since we got some incredible Beast Wars toys, and in my opinion, is long overdue. So far, of the ones that I've gotten, Rat Trap, Cheetor, and BLACKARACHNIA, all of them have been home runs. They're doing some absolutely wonderful things with the designs of a lot of these really beloved characters. And I think a lot of people are excited that we're just not getting those G1 characters again. They're doing something a little bit different and really expanding on things. BLACKARACHNIA, while, yeah, there's a little bit more exposed robot stuff, it ultimately still hides fairly decently. Enough so that it doesn't bug me. And if I'm not bugged by it, get it? Bug? Then you gotta know that they've done a good job. She looks absolutely terrific. Like I said, we're not getting a lot of Predacons, and to be fair, she eventually becomes a Maximal anyhow. So I do hope that they are able to remold her to give us a Tarantulas, because as I said, we don't have a lot of Predacons. I mean, obviously we're getting Megatron, but it would be great to get a Pterosaur. Scorponok would be cool, obviously Tarantulas, and of course everybody's favorite, Waspinator. So fingers crossed that this is a successful line, because I really do feel that the future of getting more Beast Wars figures depends on how well these ones are received. So yeah, fingers crossed. But all of that being said, if BLACKARACHNIA here is a figure that you would like to add to your collection, she will be hitting various retail locations fairly soon. So if you are looking for her, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can do the really easy thing and just go online to places like Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon. For those places, I'll put links right down in the video description where you can go there and check out availability on her, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Before you go, I'd like to ask you to do one real quick thing for me. I ask over and over again, hoping that you guys will finally blow it up. But please, hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really very much appreciate it. Also, I gotta send a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. If you've enjoyed these early looks at the Kingdom figures, you have those people to thank. So if you'd like information on how you can help support my channel by becoming a patron like these guys have done, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Optibotimus. Or if you want to keep all of your perks and rewards right here on YouTube like these guys do, consider becoming a member of Optibotimus Plus, where you get personal loyalty badges, emojis, exclusive member vlogs and live streams, and even the ability to be a part of giveaways. And for that, all you have to do is click on that little join button right down there. And finally, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.